What's up, guys? Welcome back to Storytime with Uncle Jon, where we read stories from Reddit and around the web about tales from tech support and malicious compliance. So in my last malicious compliance video, I sort of mentioned at the end of the video our online shop where we sell our handmade soaps, shave stuff, beard stuff, things like that. And we've had a few people hit on the website just from the mention and wanted to pose a question to you guys. So I know the ads get annoying, the automated YouTube ads, things like that. Even if I shut them completely off, there's no guarantee that they're not going to play at least some. You may have an ad blocker and things like that, and that's cool. You may have a YouTube premium membership and they're, blocked. That's all well and good. For those of you who don't want to join join our channel for a small subscription-based thing to help cut ads, how do you guys feel about me promoting my own business, like sponsoring myself? Basically doing a 30 to 60 second short ad somewhere in our video each time. What I can do is I can either turn the other ads completely off, or during the experiment I can cut them way back, hopefully, if I can make it work right. I can cut them way back and just do our little sponsor thing. Let me know what you think about it down below, and I don't know, maybe we'll try it out. I wouldn't do it for every video. I'd probably, leapfrog a little bit until I get some other real sponsors that are outside of my own little circle here. But anyway, all right, let me know down below, and let's get to the stories. Techie's Kitchen Nightmare. So this is a story when I was working as a relatively new and young, about 23, on-site tech support for a rather large contractor. I was on-site at a family-owned catering provider doing an inspection on a new piece of equipment to be installed the following days. After some time, the owner came to me to get help for a small but time-relevant issue in the kitchen. So I go to change into a clean work uniform, put on the boot covers and hairnet, and go into the kitchen. When I walked into the kitchen, I was speechless. The kitchen was dirty beyond usual wear and tear and current usage. A bit about me. I used to work for about 3.5 years as a chef in a well-known restaurants. I know a lot about health and safety, and you guessed it, cleaning. What I saw is not really describable. Think of a hoarder home. After you throw away all the unnecessary trash, you're left with what was in front of me. Luckily, they cleaned regularly, so there wasn't any foul smell. I almost immediately wanted to rip the owner a new one, stop any and all work, and lead a cleaning operation. This becomes relevant later. I swallowed my anger and frustration and got my work done. The electric cooking hub wasn't working. Not a huge deal, just got to disconnect the power and renew the high voltage cable. So I go and tell the head chef that I need to disconnect power for a few minutes. He gives the go ahead and to just tell the cooks about it. So I yell into the kitchen that I need to disconnect the power. After a few minutes, I get the go ahead from the kitchen staff. I flip the main switch on the panel and get to work. As I'm working, I hear a, "So why is it not working?" as I hear a rattling noise coming from the lock I placed on the main power board. I get out of the small space I'm working in and look at what's going on. As I get out of the small space, I hear the sound of my lock getting ripped off and falling to the ground. Apparently, while working, the shift changed, and nobody told them about the guy fixing equipment while handling high voltage equipment. So I explain again that I need the power off to fix the equipment so I don't die. After calming down and getting a replacement lock out of my car, I realize that somebody switched on the power. I get the distinctive smell of burning cable. Shortly, wondering where it's coming from, I remember what I was working on. So I turn the power back off, lock the switchboard with a new and better lock. I remind the cooks that I don't want to die and the power needs to be off. Going back to my little cubby under the workstation, I assess the damage done, and it's bad. The high voltage cable is damaged beyond repair. I call my office to call for backup and parts, as well as the owner that the kitchen will be down for a few hours. The owner, thrown in a rage, chews off my ear before hearing the full story. The owner apparently went to a family gathering nearby. After hearing what happened, the owner literally flew to the location to assess the damage himself. The shouting match that ensued could be heard outside. Apparently the volume was so loud that nearby police were alarmed and came in to see what was happening. A long screaming fit later, he turned to me to ask how long it'll take to repair. After giving him an estimate, he turned to the employees and ordered them to clean up the mess. Reluctantly, the workers started to clean a bit and finished after a few minutes. After reporting to the owner that they finished, I came to them and asked if they were sure. They huffed and told me they cleaned it better than usual. The surfaces were wiped down and glossy. For those that don't know, the surfaces should be matte. It took me about 15 seconds to prove them that the kitchen was in fact not clean. All I did was lift an appliance and use a scraper to remove an unknown amount of years of buildup from a corner. They immediately complained that what I did was remove the sealant of the surfaces. After looking closer, they realized that I did know my stuff. At that time, my colleagues started to pour in and started to dismantle some surfaces to get to work to replace the damaged cable. It took us maybe 3 hours to complete our work. As we started to reassemble the worksite, I got the idea to really clean this station to my specifications. While my colleagues disagreed, I was set to teach them what a place should look like after cleaning. They told me to knock myself out and went off. They did finish the inspection of the machine, and work we did. Now, in our contract with our customers, there was a line that we would leave the place we worked on in the same or better condition than we found it. In this case, I took that line very seriously. I spent about 2 hours cleaning a surface of about 3 meters squared. That included the surface, the sides, the vents, and floor surrounding. After all that, I looked the cooks in the eye and said my farewells. On the day we went back to install the machine, the owner came to me to tell me that while he was pleased with my work, not to overdo it again. His workers didn't finish cleaning for 2 days straight since the difference was so great. I went back a few months after that. The kitchen was clean as if they had just got everything newly installed. Well, good for you for setting a good example, and shame on that owner for allowing things to go on as long as they did. It's funny, the owners want everything clean, spick and span so they say, but when it comes right down to it, they could really give a crap as long as they're not failing inspections because they don't want to pay any extra money. And they don't want to pay the manager to have to stay on longer to pay that extra money while he's watching you guys clean, because, we all know how many managers actually clean things. Yeah, it's a vicious cycle. We used to, when I was younger, we used to do carpentry, construction jobs, and one of our jobs was a contract to replace the bulletproof front lines, the front counter that's lined, new tile, and the bulletproof glass that's on top above the counter with the little, bulletproof carousel that you put your money in, they turn it, and your bag comes out to you. And, this was years ago, up in North Jersey and parts of New York, and it was overnight jobs, and man, just talk about horrible. As soon as we started dismantling that front counter, moving the register stuff out of the way, the electrician, we'd be disconnecting everything, moving all the wires. We'd be doing the demolition of the actual counter and any bulletproof glass that existed if there was any. And, getting underneath those counters was just horrible. Nothing was clean. Like nothing. You could tell things hadn't been moved in years. We worked in this one famous southern fried chicken place overnight, and we were just about wrapping up. It was like 4:30, 4:45 in the morning, and we only had maybe another hour worth of work before we could finish loading our stuff in the trucks and get out of there. And just before 5 o'clock, we noticed a little bit of water coming up out of the floor drains in this place. Come to find out, in the city we were in, that's about the time of morning everybody gets up in the morning, starts flushing their toilets and taking their showers to get ready to go to work. And all of that stuff starts backing up into the store. We stopped work immediately. By the time we got all our stuff out, there was probably about 2 or 3 inches of water all over the restaurant, including the dining area. God, I hope that place was shut down and demolished, but, probably not. Ugh. One thing at a time, please. I'm a level 3 network support tech for a large retailer. The ticket was sent to me first thing this morning regarding a PC not being able to print in one of our stores. Long story short, the PC was offline and couldn't print to the store printer. So I say, the PC's showing offline for me, can you verify the Ethernet cable is plugged in securely into the computer and tell me where it's running to? The store associate says, by the way, the cash drawer on this PC isn't popping out either. I say, well, yes, that's because the computer can't reach the POS server because it's offline. Anyway, can you verify the cabling for me? Store associate says, also there's a light popping up on some random piece of equipment that deals with the security alarm. I say, okay, let's try focusing on getting this PC back online first and we'll take a look at that. Where's the cable going? Store associate says it's running to the desk phone. I say, okay, so it's piggybacked off the phone. That's good. Is the phone on? Store associate says, no, I unhooked the phone this morning because it wouldn't stop ringing and I needed to get work done. Me, while shaking my head, okay, well it gets Ethernet from the phone, so we need to plug that up and resolve your issues. Let's hook the phone back up and put it on Do Not Disturb. Your PC should come back up once the phone comes back up. The store associate says, what about that light blinking on the security equipment? Me, let's hook up the phone first and get the computer back online, and then we'll take a look at that. I get the end user was wanting to solve everything right then and there, but I'm trying to focus on the main reason I called. One task at a time, please. I'll be glad to solve your other issues once we solve the problem at hand. I'm a firm believer in being able to multitask, to a point. If you're multitasking so much that you can't get one thing accomplished, then it's useless. So you're better off just focus on one little piece at a time, work in order. Things usually have an order or some sort of protocol. But either way, the guy that knows what he's talking about is telling you to do one thing, get that straight, and then we'll move on to the next issue. not that hard of a concept. Oh, by the way, all because this guy decided that it was a good idea to unplug the phone so he didn't get disturbed. He didn't know about or didn't care about the do not disturb setting. Was he lazy? Is the laziness why he unplugged the phone to begin with? He just doesn't want to be bothered. I mean, most of the time, if your phone's ringing, it's because somebody needs your help with something. I don't know. Pretty sure most store employees aren't supposed to be touching any plugs on any equipment at any time, but what do I know? The pepcac is coming from inside the house. Ooh. Today I have a simple story about the moment I realized my coworker, Lucy, was really not a good fit for help desk. There are more stories about Lucy, but those are for another day. Setup. A decade ago, I worked for a financial company as your run-of-the-mill help desk technician. Password resets, window issues, email distro lists, everything but network or hardware. Our department was small, only 5 employees, but we were going through a rough time with turnovers. I had gone from the newest team member to the most senior within a year of my tenure. Enter our newest teammate, Lucy. Lucy was by far the sweetest person I've met in IT, and did several thoughtful gestures for me throughout my time with her. She always had a smile on her face and never complained. Really, I want to stress how funny and friendly she was, because unfortunately, Lucy couldn't troubleshoot herself out of a paper bag. I first started to get the feeling that something was wrong within the first week of training. Obviously, everything is done with supervision at this stage, but I was concerned at how little she would do without direct instruction. It seemed like every time I would ask her to do something, her face would go blank, like her brain was still processing what was asked. Even with very basic things like clicking different options on a window. Warning signals really went off when we asked her to do simple operating procedure utilizing clear documentation by adding information to an Excel document. We had gone through this process about 4 times prior, as it was a very frequent but easy task we did. I look over after about 10 minutes of her working on the procedure and notice that she's still on the Windows desktop. Hey Lucy, how's it going with the procedure? I ask. Just let me know if you need any help with it. I'm not busy right now. I'm good, thank you, she says in a chipper tone. Lucy moves the mouse around but otherwise doesn't click on anything. Is she just playing on her phone or something? I wonder to myself, and take more frequent peeks at her over the next 5 minutes. No, she's not on her phone. She's just staring at the desktop for almost 15 minutes now. I decided to throw her a bone. I found the easiest way to start is to open Excel first, then worry about the other step next. Why don't you go ahead and do that, then I can show you the next steps if you need. She perks up. Oh, okay, I can do that. There's another pause. I watch as her mouse moves over the screen, hovering occasionally over different icons on the desktop. I speak up again. It's the green icon, by the way. I know we have a lot of desktop shortcuts. She laughs and agrees, then silence again. Another few minutes pass. I gently offer that the start menu might be the best place to go if she doesn't have Excel pinned. Got it, she eagerly says. I watch in amazement as her mouse moves from the upper right to the lower left, then to the upper left. At this stage, I'm baffled. I get up to stand behind her. Here, I say, making every effort to not sound flabbergasted. We can do it together this time. Let's go to the Windows Start menu. I gesture to the lower left corner. Can do, she chirps, and the mouse begins its adventure anew. Right, left, up, down. 10 seconds. 20 seconds. 30 seconds of silence and a meandering cursor, all while smiling at the screen. I repeat my directions, this time adding that the menu is at the far left on the taskbar. Ah, gotcha, Lucy replies with a smile. Down, pause, right, pause, left, right. This time I point, finger making contact with the screen, and ask her to click there. There it is, she says triumphantly, and clicks the start menu. She looks up at me with a beaming smile. I breathe a small sigh of relief and try to shake off my confusion, keeping my face neutral. Okay, great. Now that we're here, we just need to search for Excel to open it, I say confidently, looking at the obvious white search bar with the cursor already flashing inside of it. On it, she says enthusiastically, followed by silence. I see her move her hand from the mouse to the keyboard, to the mouse, keyboard, mouse, pause. Then she clicks on Microsoft Word. Okay, this is hilarious, but it's not. There's one of several things going on here. She's either really that dumb, which is possible, or she's stoned. That's another possibility. I've seen that a lot before where people are, well, and most people that are stoned are kind of dumb too. Or she's special needs, or all of the above. I don't know of anybody who's that nice, who's got any kind of intelligence that would sit there just grinning at a screen not knowing what to do. I would at least say, listen, you got me, man. Where's the start icon? Where's this? Where's that? I mean, how did she get there to begin with? You had to have some sort of skills to start. I mean, I know it's a small team, but geez, I don't know. Hopefully she found a niche somewhere in the company or moved on to something that she's better suited for. It was almost perfect. Ticket comes in from T1. User has no connectivity while hardwired. Checked the troubleshooting and everything I would have asked for them to try was completed and more. Meraki showing nothing screwy to the switch. So I call the user up. I asked him where the network cable from the dock is plugged in and he says D8. Silently saying a prayer of gratitude, we head back to the IT closet. He turns his camera around and I see a wonderfully wired rack. No clutter, no loose cables. You could almost hear a choir of angels. I had 2 patch panels, one marked voice and one marked data, with all the cables from the switch being plugged into the voice patch panel. I mentally facepalmed as I think I'd figured out the problem, but needed to confirm. I pinged another hardwired computer in the office, found out its location on the switch, had the user cable trace, and lo and behold, it's going to the patch panel labeled voice, confirming my earlier facepalm. User goes back, connects to his dock, switched the cable from D8 to V8, and voila, we have a hard-working internet connection. I have my thoughts on why this played out like it did, probably involving the removal of desk phones, so I can't be too mad in that way. But to see a server rack so close to perfection with that blemish on it still breaks the heart just a little bit. I can't say much. My cabling skills are severely lacking. I'm sort of a get the job done kind of guy and get everything plugged in, and I know, where it's plugged in and I get it to the right spot. It just may not look the best going there. So if you need something cabled neatly, I've seen some really nice racks and boards set up where, things are stapled and perfectly in line and everything follows a path and it's nice and it's really cool and easy to follow. That ain't me. If you just want it hooked up to the right spot and make sure it works, I can do that. Otherwise, yeah. And I know it's just me being lazy and trying to get things done fast. Maybe I'll fix that someday. Maybe not. Good luck finding that link. I just got back from helping an employee and I'm a bit flabbergasted. This story only involves 2 parties. Me and employee. Employee says, I need help finding an email. I sent it to myself from my phone and it didn't come through. Just last week, this employee couldn't find an email that was sent by HR and insisted that it did not come through. I was able to find the email right away. I figured this was happening again. Turns out that they were using some third-party email app on their phone. I switched them to the officially supported app and the email went through. I figured my job was done at this point. As I go to walk away, employee stops me. Employee says, okay, how do I upload it to our payroll system? I say, oh, that's easy. You just download this file and upload it to the payroll system. You can find the file in your downloads folder. Employee says, well, where do I upload it? Me, you said it goes in our payroll system, right? So I would start by going to payroll system URL. Employee then types the URL into the email search bar. They spend about a minute hovering their mouse over the 4 emails that popped up in their search before deciding to click on one from several months ago. Employee blankly stares at the screen and scrolls down until a blue link shows up. Employee believes this is the link they're looking for and click it. However, this is not a URL, this is an email address. It's employee's own email address. Employee still hasn't realized what they've done and is surprised by the new message window that pops up. Nevertheless, they start to type an email asking for a link to our payroll website. I say, well, good luck finding that link. Let me know if you need help uploading the document when you find it. We make fun of employees here and people who are just generally inept around any kind of technology, whether it's email, Microsoft products, whatever. Turning on a monitor, turning off a monitor, powering off a computer, and just, thinking turning the monitor off powers it down, whatever. But you really got to blame the people who hired these people. Where's the training? If you want people to do a certain job. Now, I will say that if you said on your resume and in your interviews that you have experience, well, no, it's still the employer's problem at that point, because usually when you tell somebody, yeah, I can do that, they usually put you to the test. They'll give you some, a couple small tasks maybe. Like, I got hired to do some welding in a door shop when I was, in my early 20s, I guess. I had told the guy, listen, I've never welded a bit in my life, but I can learn. Hire me for $2 an hour less than you told me, and if I can't learn it in the first 60 days, then either keep me at that rate to sweep the shop or I'll go somewhere else. Well, within the first week, I had it down pat. I could MIG weld the corners of these door frames and everything else and grind them down and get them, primed and everything. Get them stable, square, no problem. I learned how to use the punch machine to punch in, dimples for bolts, hinge presets, things like that. And everything was great. After the first 3 or 4 weeks, I got my $2 back that they originally wanted to hire somebody for, and everything worked out. Wooden doors were no problem. I could work wooden doors easily. I was already a carpenter at that point. It was the metal stuff that I had an issue with. But I guess my point is I was honest, and I guess they liked the fact that I was enthusiastic about it, ready to work, everything else. It's really a shame, honestly, because if the shop foreman wasn't such a jackass, I probably would have stayed there and made a career of it, because they had a lock guy that specialized in locks, and he was going to be retiring at some point, and I could have moved my way right up through this small door company. And the shop foreman just wanted to play, hard ass and make fun of everybody, and I was pretty much his only other guy in the shop, and he just thought he was God's gift, man. Smacked ass. Anyway, like I asked in the beginning of the video, let me know what you think about maybe doing sponsors for myself, by myself, and until then, visit this web address right here, and until the next video, we'll see you.